This 26 Sports and CCTV high school football presentation is brought to you by Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you. And by Munson Healthcare Cadillac Rehab Services.
Welcome back to the 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week here between the Pine River Bucks and the McBain Ramblers. I'm Derek Tate alongside Dan Gussert. We're knotted up at 0 to start the second quarter, and we pick up action with a 4th and 4 at the 15-yard line. Brown rolling right, looking to throw, is going to try to drop it off to Rodenbaugh. He catches it and dropped by number 26, Brian Fauble. That's going to go ahead and stop a potential touchdown, but they do move the chains for a first down. That's not the first time that Rodenbaugh was able to haul in a pass that was a little bit behind him. But credit George Brown III to getting it to him.
You know, on a 4th down play like that, I got to believe they're looking for either he or Sealand on that. It just happened to be.
Rodenbaugh more known for what he does on the ground than he does through the air. Here's Brown on 1st and goal. He fires it in there. Touchdown, Ramblers. That one to Dan Rodenbaugh. 2 consecutive receptions. This one goes for 6.
Well, finally, McBain does put something on the board here as they have kind of dominated field position, and Pine River unable to stop them a 3rd time.
And it looks like the Ramblers are going to go for 2. Trying to catch Pine River off guard. Here's Brown rolling right. Looking for Rodenbaugh, and that one hauled in. Dan Rodenbaugh taking over here to start the second quarter. 3 consecutive receptions, and the last 2 garnering the first points of this Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. The Ramblers lead over Pine River 8-0.
Well, it took a quarter and a few seconds here for McBain to finally get on the board. They are up 8-0. You know, kind of a atypical what you'd expect from McBain right there. 1st and goal right inside the 4 or 5 yard line, and they throw a pass.
Well, they
consecutive passes, like you said, 3 to Rodenbaugh, the 4th down 1, and then the 1st down touchdown and the 2-point conversion.
It seems as if Coach Maloney has found in the passing attack to try to go to a trips formation, and they keep slipping Rodenbaugh out in those just little out routes. That's the 4th time in this game that they've found him on one of those little easy 5-yard outs.
And you know, that's that coaching scheme thing. Pine River shooting some of those linebackers into those gaps. Rodenbaugh slipping right behind those, and you know, give that chess match point right there to Coach Maloney.
We've seen Deacon Dottie, who got a couple snaps under center for the Ramblers, but they went right back to George Brown III, and he rewarded them with a 6-yard touchdown pass to Dan Rodenbaugh. But Pine River only down by 1 score just to kick off this second quarter of action. And it's going to be Brant Bonico with a little squib kick. And it's going to be Brian Fauble able to bring that one in, and he's going to be dropped just shy of the 40-yard line, and this is going to be by far the best field position of the game for Pine River.
Yeah, Pine River gets a little breathing zone here, a chance to kind of catch their breath as they've had their backs to the wall most of this first half.
Well, it really shrinks that playbook when you're up against your own doorstep.
Absolutely.
So to say. And we're going to get a look at Rogan Nelson, the sophomore quarterback. The first 3 possessions have come up empty for Pine River. The first play from offensive scrimmage was a lost fumble, and then 2 punts. Here's the 4th possession for Pine River. Nelson on the quarterback keeper, able to bounce off one would-be tackler. Falls forward past the 40-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 4. Rogan Nelson paid for those 4 yards right there.
Yeah, I think that was Owen Bonico, number 25, who hit him first on that.
Owen Bonico, the leading tackler for this McBain defense. You see a lot of these young men on both teams going both ways, getting snaps on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we were talking on one of the last plays there in the first quarter when George Brown went rambling for a bunch of yards that he was tackled by Nelson, the quarterback for Pine River, but he put the hurt on Nelson for sure.
2nd and 6. Nelson keeps it. And he slips one would-be tackler at the 40-yard line and scoots past the 45. It's going to be a gain of 3. Brings up 3rd and 3, and this drive, even though it hasn't garnered a first down yet, seems to be showing a little bit of promise, and they look a little bit more comfortable now that they're not playing right on their own edge.
Yeah, nice read right there by Nelson. He picks up about 5 yards on that, and I think it was number 17, Trevor Bodie, on that tackle.
And Bodie dropped him just past the 45-yard line. Bringing up 3rd and 3. Nelson working out of the pistol. Nelson running the option. And he's going to go ahead and call his own number. Tries to lunge forward, but he's going to be stacked up by Dan Rodenbaugh.
That's pretty close right there from where we're at, but I think he's short. Right down where our angle is here on the field, Derek.
We got a pretty good look at it.
We do.
And they are going to be marked about a half a yard short. And head coach Terry Martin, he's keeping the offense on the field. They're going to go for it.
This is a big play early in this game with McBain up 8-0.
4th and 1, and there's a little bit of movement. They didn't throw a flag, and that pass incomplete, intended for Sasha Huffman. A lot of miscommunication.
Yeah, Sasha stopped on the route. I think he was expecting it to come directly to where he was, and Nelson led him about 4 yards. McBain will take over.
That's a turnover on downs, and I will say this, that if I was head coach Terry Martin, I may be a little bit upset. I saw a little, we got a pretty good look at it. A lot of movement along that defensive line unit for the McBain Ramblers, but they get the call. 1st and 10 in great field position. Brown, play action. He's going to let it rip deep, going for Barton, and great coverage, but there is a flag thrown on Lane Rupert in coverage, and that's going to be.
What do you think on this call?
I mean, I didn't like the last call, and now we got another questionable one here, and I'm assuming that one's going to be on the defense.
Yeah, we'll see. It looked like he had pretty good position running down the field. Maybe a little bit of pass interference on Barton there. I don't know what they're talking about it right now, so we'll see.
I mean, we don't have the instant replay up,
No.
but it is going to be pass interference on Lane Rupert. It's a tough call. From what I saw, both of them were kind of jostling for position, and Rupert looked back for the football.
Yeah.
It's not like he tried to face guard him, so I don't know what else Rupert could have done well there. Tough call, but it goes in McBain's favor, and they'll take it. 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line.
Tough one to swallow right there. Pine River's got to just take their medicine here and see what they can do.
And Seelan with a little jump cut, and he's going to fall forward to the 29-yard line. It's a gain of 5. We've seen a busy night on the ground for Gavin Seelan, but we know he can get it done through the air as well.
Yeah, he runs so low to the ground, and he's got a great cut, and he turned what looked like maybe was going to be a yard gain into 4.5.
One of the more fluid players on this McBain offense. It's George Brown working out of the shotgun, 4 wide receivers on 2nd and 5. Brown pitch to Seelan around the left edge. He gets a great lead block. And another one along the sideline before he's finally pushed out of bounds just inside the 20-yard line. A lot of physical lead blocking along that left side.
Nice, strong offensive play right there by McBain on that sweep.
I saw number 25. That was Owen Bonico. Put a young man on the ground, and then his wide receiver followed in suit, Josh Hart Jr. And he gets shoved out of bounds. He's going to be pushed out right around the 20-yard line, 1st and 10, and it's McBain at the 20-yard line, threatening yet again to add to their 8-0 advantage. Rodenbaugh in motion. Brown on the keeper, and he is stood up and dropped by Gavin Kernett.
Nice job right there by the Pine River defense. They got to be a little gassed here, Derek. They've been on the field quite a bit, and certainly in high-stress situations early in this game.
McBain continues to go to the running game, forcing that unit to try to stand tall. Pass is complete to Gavin Seelan in the right flat. Drop down right around the 15-yard line by Brian Fable, excuse me. And he's going to be just shy of the 15. It's going to be a short gain of 4. It's going to make it 3rd and manageable. 3rd and 6, just under the 8-minute mark here in the second quarter. And George Brown the third on 3rd and 6, working with trips to his left. Brown fires to the flats, and that one broken up and diagnosed by Lane Rupert. He had a tough pass interference call earlier. That one he may have been a tad early.
That was the one I thought was the pass interference of the 2 calls.
Might have been a little bit of a makeup call there, but pass falls incomplete, and that'll bring up another 4th down.
Boy, we've seen this a lot early in this game.
Yeah, we have.
McBain 4th and just a little bit inside the Pine River 20-yard line.
And here's going to be a timeout from head coach Pat Maloney as we got another opportunity to thank some of our sponsors.
Yeah, sponsoring tonight, we've got Bauman and Rogers there in Lake City. We got McBain Building Products. We've got Ron D's Tavern and Grocery. We've got the Travelers Bar and Grill. Cadillac Tire Center. We have Pizza Plus sponsoring tonight, along with Lake City Family Pharmacy and McBain Family Pharmacy. Pancho Villa Mexican Grill in Lake City. Best Demolition. Tasty Treat in Lake City. Builder's First Source in Cadillac. Doug Glass of Cadillac. LC Materials. Fox Motors of Cadillac. And our presenting sponsors tonight, Munson Healthcare, Cadillac Hospital, Wolverine Power Cooperative, and Great Lakes Energy. And big thank you to all those folks.
Of course, we have to shout out even bigger to the crew tonight that's doing a fantastic job. Director Hannah Crouch, also with Damian Brooks and Cole Siedenburn working the cameras, and we pick back up another 4th down for the Ramblers. Brown back to pass. He's pressured. Now he's going to try to tuck it down and run. He's got the 1st down, and he's got the touchdown. Touchdown, McBain.
You know, probably should have been taken down in the backfield and then certainly short of the goal line. But George Brown with some nifty footwork makes 2 bucks miss, and McBain gets another TD.
George Brown with a 16-yard touchdown run for McBain, and they go up 14-0. And the Ramblers, similar to their first score earlier this quarter, they're going for 2 yet again. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Brown looking. And that one intended for Rodenbaugh, and there's a mess of bodies in the end zone. And there's going to be no flag. That one, 2-point conversion, no good, but they do add 6 with a 16-yard touchdown run from George Brown, who takes him to touchdown town. And McBain leads over Pine River 14-0. With 7:43 remaining in the quarter on your 26 Sports in CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. I'm Derek Tate alongside Dan Gussert. We do want to go ahead and say that if you're tuning in and you are interested in grabbing some of the copies of these games, you can do so over at cctv-cadillac.org and MI News 26. And I think one of the coolest things about our production in general is that all the sports are produced with cooperation between Wexford and Misaki Career Tech Center, CCTV, and MI News 26, which allows some of these young men and women to be able to get hands-on experience shooting a live sporting event. It's fantastic. It allows us to be able to have our job real easy, and we just get to call the action, but they do a great job.
And those high school students, you know, running the camera and doing all the things behind the scene, they do a great job for us all year long with the football broadcasts. And, you know, as we head to winter sports here, basketball, boys and girls, and ice hockey.
Something about ice hockey that just sounds right in Michigan. Here's the kickoff from Bonico, and charging on it is going to be Rupert. And Rupert's got some room to run. He's finally brought down just past the 40-yard line. On the stop is going to be number 51. That's Derek Camphouse.
Nice return right there by Lane Rupert. Just kind of slid a little bit to his left, surveyed the field, and when he saw the opening, jumped into it real quick, picked up about maybe 9 or 10 yards after his cut.
And if your head coach, Terry Martin, got to get a first down here just to give that defense some room or time to be able to catch their breath.
And certainly to give the kids a little more confidence here. They got to get a good possession going right now.
Nelson working out of the pistol, and there's a give and a first down and more by Brock Nelson. He's to the 30, to the 20. Got to beat one man. He does. Touchdown, Pine River.
That is a 60-yard TD run by Brock Nelson right there.
Whoa, we mentioned they wanted to get something going on the offensive end, and Brock Nelson says, I'll get you a first down and do one better, a 60-yard touchdown scamper, and Pine River's on the board.
Yeah, just a handful of seconds after McBain gets their second touchdown, Brock Nelson right up the middle, chased all the way down the field, but his speed was just a little too much for McBain.
Brock Nelson, that's his 5th rushing touchdown on the season, and Pine River is going to elect to kick the extra point as opposed to go for 2. And that kick is down, up and good. That's
no,
Omar.
He missed her to the right.
Omar Aguilar. My humble apologies. That
Yep.
one is no good. So 2 consecutive extra points that do not convert, but Pine River gets on the board. 14-6 with 7:28 remaining. McBain still on top here on your 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week.
Well, you didn't give your defense much chance to rest as they scored immediately after McBain's touchdown, but the confidence factor is going to be back up, and maybe a little bit of a self-doubt now for McBain.
If I'm a defense, I'll take the points.
Absolutely.
And get me back out there. I mean, I wanted a little bit of a break. Best of both worlds was they score in 5 plays as opposed to 1. But the good thing is Pine River does cut the deficit nearly in half, makes it a 1-score game as opposed to a 2-score game on the road. Both of these teams really trying to climb the ladder in the Highland Football League as we're in the thick of the 2019 football season.
You know, in Highland Conference this year, 2 new additions to the conference with Houghton Lake and Roscommon, both joining the conference this year. For many years, Marion was another school in the conference. Marion's gone to the 8-player football. So picked up 2 new conference.
Some of these teams a little unfamiliar with each other. And that one hauled in at the 15-yard line by Austin Ealing. And good job by the Pine River coverage unit. On the stop, looks like it's going to be number 41, Taylor Hembolt.
Austin looked like he had a little trouble with that one, fielded it up pretty high, and then I think they had the return for this side of the field because he kind of ran sideways across that.
This is really the first time that the McBain offense is going to be starting anywhere even remotely close to deep in their own territory. And it's going to be George Brown III out of the shotgun to start their 5th possession. Brown, pass complete to Gavin Sealand.
He's got about 5 yards, I think, and Nelson or Rupert on that tackle. I think that was 9, Rupert.
They combined on the stop. It was
Was
Rogan
it 5
Nelson
and 9? Okay.
and Rupert. Both. It takes a couple men sometimes to get down Gavin Sealand. One of the most explosive weapons on this Ramblers offense. That pass complete and good for 4 yards. 2nd and 6 on the way. Trips at the bottom of your screen. Working out of the shotgun is Brown.
Fumble on that snap.
And Brown able to get back on top of the mishandled snap to avoid potential disaster.
He definitely took his eye off of that, looking over the field and getting ready to make a play. Smart decision, I think, on his half to just jump on it. Sometimes you see somebody try to do too much right there and try and pick it up.
Well, it looked like Brown wanted to roll right and the snap went left.
Yeah, a little bit off, maybe, yep.
Loss of 7, 3rd and 13 for the Ramblers. Into the air goes Brown. He's going to let it rip deep, looking for Ethan Barton. And that one just out of the reach of the tall wide receiver, falls incomplete.
Got an injury here, Derek. Behind the play. I can't see who that is for Pine River, but
I believe it's Damian Koffel.
We'll have a little timeout here. Boy, what a height difference for Barton right there on that opportunity with Ian Robertson chasing him down.
Looked like they may have been trying to go to that mismatch. We are going to have an injury timeout, and it does appear to be number 54, the junior defensive tackle, Damian Koffel, that is injured on the play. And, of course, you know, these young men and women that, you know, play in Michigan high school football, you know, whenever we see an injury, we always
absolutely want
to wish them the best. And, you know, no one ever wants to see anybody suffer any season-ending injuries, especially at the young age and young sports. There's so much.
And a lot of these kids, are going to run multiple sports throughout the year, whether that's basketball season, or wrestling season here for the fellows come winter from these two schools. Good to see him up and moving. Looks like he might be all right. We'll see if he shows up back on the field later in the game.
Yeah, he's
got a little hobble on that right leg, though, huh?
Yeah, some of the coaching staff helping him up. And speaking of the coaching staff, the father of our director, Hannah Crouch, is one of the assistant coaches for Pine River, Bobby Crouch. We've got Aaron, Schaub? We got Brian Jackson and Devin Rupert.
Yep.
The rest of the coaching staff over there for the Bucks. And we'll keep an eye on Damian Koffel. If we see him back out there, we'll certainly let you know, but he is being helped by his own teammates over on the far side bench. The loss of 7. Actually, that was an incomplete pass, so it should be 4th down and 13.
Yeah, they've got it switched now on the yard marker across the field from us, Derek.
I was just checking myself almost.
Yeah.
I mean, just wondering if I had it right.
Yeah, they've got it changed.
And back around midfield, expecting the oncoming punt, is Lane Rupert.
And it doesn't look like McBain has got into the punt formation on this. I don't know if we've got a mix-up here and what. Now they have. Okay.
May just be a quick little pooch punt. And Rupert's having to step up.
I think you're going to see. Yep, there he is. It's just a pooch.
And that one, a punt that's not going to garner very much net yardage. It doesn't even get to the 40-yard line. This is by far the best field position of the night for the Pine River Bucks.
We saw in the kickoff, McBain on their last kickoff after their second touchdown, not really wanting to kick the ball back to the skill positions of Pine River, and I think a little trickery right there, trying to keep the ball out of Rupert's hands, and it kind of backfired on that punt.
And we saw last possession, one play, 60 yards, and to the house was Brock Nelson. And that brought us to 14-6. We're at the 6:04 mark, remaining in the first half. And good field position for Rogan Nelson. 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Nelson on the keeper. Tries to shovel it over there, and it went from bad to worse for this Bucks offense.
I think for McBain right there, number 62, which is Lucas Skolton, he didn't make the tackle, but he was all over Nelson and really kind of messed that play up. He just blew it up right from the get-go.
It almost looked like Rogan Nelson played hot potato and said, "Here, Sasha Huffman, you take this." Yes. And then he took a wallop from about 3 Ramblers defenders who had a full head of steam. Loss of 7 for Pine River.
Not how you want to start this possession, but, hats off to McBain's defense right there. Well schooled on that. They were all in position to make great plays.
2nd and 17. Nelson working out of the pistol. Back to pass. And he's got his man, Rupert, and he slips a tackle. He got back the yardage that he lost and then some. Inside the 35-yard line goes Rupert. And that's a pickup of 10. That's going to make it 3rd and manageable.
Certainly, this part of the field, too, you're expecting Pine River to go forward. If they aren't there on 4th, they did it at, maybe midfield here early in the game.
Now, you did say Omar Aguilar may have the range, depending if you're able to get another couple yards here. I mean, it's still right now a very long field goal attempt.
Absolutely.
But 3rd and 7 on the way for the Bucks. That's Fauble in motion, and straight up the middle. That's Nelson. He dodges another defender. Touchdown, Pine River.
That would be a 35-yard TD by Nelson right there.
Rogan Nelson with a 35-yard touchdown run, and the 2-point conversion can tie this one up.
The Nelson boys both responsible for Pine River's touchdowns. Brock gets the first one on a 60-yard run. Rogan gets this one on a 35-yard run.
And this offense is going to stay out there for head coach Terry Martin. Trying to tie this one up. It's Nelson working out of the pistol. Nelson on the keeper, straight up the middle. diving for the goal line, and he's going to be short. The Ramblers defense keeps him out of the end zone. But Nelson does bring Pine River within 2 with a 35-yard touchdown run. 2 long touchdown runs after going down 14-0. And there's life for the Bucks. It's 14-12. They only trail by 2.
Just kind of the game what we kind of expected, I think, Derek, when you and I were talking about beforehand. You know, 2 pretty darn dead even football teams conference-wise. When you looked at some common opponents, you see some similarities between how their seasons are going, and this is going to be a good battle here tonight.
Tit for tat. We saw a scoreless first quarter and then an explosion of points, and we still got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second quarter. But now it's important. I mean, now you've seen Pine River, what they can do offensively. Got a little bit of momentum now. I mean, it felt like, you know, you start with the worst possible thing. You fumble and turn over the ball on your very first offensive snap. Then your subsequent 2 possessions start inside your own 10-yard line. But now you got 2 touchdowns on 2 consecutive possessions.
You know, Pine River's done a nice job coming back from the things you've just been talking about. Now it's McBain's turn. You know, we'll see how they come back from things like this.
And hauled in right around the 25-yard line. It looks like it's Justin Guild. Just brought down just around the 30-yard line, and that's where the Ramblers offense, who they had to be feeling pretty good with a 14-point lead, and all of a sudden that has evaporated, and they got to respond to 2 consecutive touchdowns from the Bucks offense.
Well, we'll see if McBain comes out a little bit more of that tight formation, or are they going to spread the field here? As they've gone back and forth throughout the game, and it looks like the full house backfield here.
Going to the T formation with the 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Brown gives, and that's Bonico, and he's going nowhere. In fact, dropped for a loss. That's Hunter Varney, the sophomore, on the stop.
Nice job with the Bucks right there. They were in backfield pretty quickly there and dropped them for maybe a yard loss there. What a nice night it's turned out to be here. This week's been so rainy all week long, and today the sky's kind of parted and we got a little bit of sun here tonight. It's not a bad night.
I'll take it as a beautiful night for football, and there's going to be a timeout from Owen Bonico, and Bonico appears to be limping as he heads toward the Ramblers sideline. That is certainly an injury worth keeping an eye on. That young man means so much to the defensive unit, in addition to what he does on the offensive side of the football for McBain.
I don't know if that's going to be a charge timeout to McBain. Yes, it is. It has been signaled that it was.
Trying to get a look at it. I mean, I believe that may be the
first timeout?
I think they've definitely spent one other timeout. I'm trying to.
Oh, you are right. This would be their second.
As we are locked in the 50th battle, 50th meeting between these two teams. Of course, we mentioned earlier in the pregame show that McBain owns the series record right now, 30-19. Something about the 50th. Whenever you get those 0 numbers,
absolutely.
It just feels right.
It's kind of a milestone out there tonight for sure.
And the milestone the teams that want to reach is they want to continue to climb the ladder.
Everybody in I almost said the Big North Conference. That's a lot of the Cadillac games we covered. This is the Highland.
Yep, that is.
And everybody's chasing Beale City again this year. For a lot of years, Beale City has kind of owned this conference. Certainly playoff contenders, state champs. The Aggies have been in state finals contenders many times.
And look at Gavin Seelan bouncing off would-be defenders. And finally dragged down after a gain of 14. Hard running by Gavin Seeland.
I think Creed Watson finally able to bring him down on that.
And that was Deacon Dottie who went back under center for McBain. He's gotten a couple looks as the signal caller for the Ramblers. 1st and 10, 3:22 remaining in the second quarter. Out of the T formation. That's Rodenbaugh on the carry, and Rodenbaugh is going to be brought down just shy of midfield on the stop, number 40, Sasha Huffman.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of arm tackling going on here from the Bucks. I'm wondering if they saw something on film, maybe a little bit of fumbles that they had noticed early on by some of the McBain ball carriers. We see them kind of punch or to wrap and try to get that ball on some of those wider runs. That's at least the third time I noticed that tonight.
Gain of 6 brings up 2nd and 4 for McBain. And it's Rodenbaugh right up Main Street, and that's going to move the sticks for the Ramblers. And you start to see them going back to what worked so well in the first quarter. They're running right at this Bucks defense.
2 minutes and a little bit of change here to go until halftime. Lots of time for McBain.
Seems to be no rush from head coach Pat Maloney. Dottie gives, and there's a fumble. The ball's on the ground, and it's still loose. And it looks like big old number 68, Caleb Outman, fell on it for McBain.
Yeah, Caleb actually lives in my neighborhood, not too far from me. Nice to see him out there, and he's Johnny on the spot right there, because after that thing scooted back about 3 yards, it could have been anybody's.
Luckily, only a loss of 1, and you can go ahead and give him a pat on the shoulder when you see him.
We'll do that.
When you're grabbing your newspaper or the mail later. 2nd and 11 for the Ramblers. Give goes to Rodenbaugh straight ahead, and he plunges his way past the 40-yard line. Gain of 7 as we just now hit the 2-minute mark remaining in the first half. 3rd and 4, and they've picked up the tempo now, have the Ramblers. Dottie under center. Gives Rodenbaugh. Carrying Bucks defenders to the 36-yard line, but he needed to get to the 35 to move the chains.
Yeah, he's going to be a little short, 4th and a little bit, and not to mention you're using up a little clock.
And at the 1:33 mark, 4th and 1, another 4th down attempt. That's going to be the 5th 4th down attempt of the first half in Pine River territory. Out of the T formation, Dottie under center. To Rodenbaugh.
He's got the first down.
And he does garner the first down. That's going to move the sticks and stop the clock with a 1:11 remaining. And we've seen 4 straight carries straight ahead, no monkey business with Dan Rodenbaugh.
You know, and we're looking at the 6th game of the season for these teams, so they're kind of used to a little bit of a hurry-up offense at this point of the year. McBain's doing a fine job with it so far.
And here's Dottie. He's going to throw it. He's got his man just a little short, intended for number 18.
Yeah, that's Kagan Auckland. I went down, found out Kagan Auckland is number 18. That's one earlier in the game we didn't have a name for.
Well, thank you for going and grabbing that name, because I was going to just say touchdown number 18. He couldn't quite hook up with him. It's going to bring up 2nd and 10 with 54 seconds remaining. Dottie still under center. Rodenbaugh.
I'm a little surprised by that call. Maybe a little bit conservative on that.
As the clock is going to continue to run to 42 seconds and counting. Brian Fauble on the stop for the Bucks. No gain on the, little to no gain, probably a 3rd and 9 on the horizon.
Now you see McBain go to their spread offense here.
And there's going to be a timeout, and the final timeout of the first half.
Yep, McBain.
Actually, it says they're out of timeouts potentially. It looks like the head referee trying to wave it on. They're going to run the clock. 25 seconds in running. 3rd and 9, so head coach Maloney has to get it snapped. Brown working out of the shotgun. And now there's going to be a stoppage in play.
I think we've got a little discussion going on. I think McBain had called a timeout they didn't have. And I don't know if that should be penalized. I don't know.
Well, we'll see
what happens, or maybe it's just a timeout.
Head referee's got his white hat on. He's talking to the head coach of McBain, Pat Maloney, trying to explain potentially what his options are. Generally, if you call a timeout with no timeouts remaining, I believe that is a penalty of some sort, and a couple runoff of the clock of an additional 10 seconds.
It's hard to tell. High school rules are so different than professional and college rules, but I got to believe that's still a penalty.
I'm from Florida. I mean, if the Michigan high school football rules are up here, let me know. I thought that it would be probably a penalty and a 10-second runoff. But we're going to go ahead and get some clarification here in just a moment. There's 15 seconds on the scoreboard. And it's 3rd and 9 as of right now. So it looks like the players are trying to get set. Maybe there was a 10-second runoff as the only additional penalty. I do not think McBain had a timeout in the pocket. And it's George Brown on third down.
And we still got that discussion going down here in front of the McBain coaching staff. Teams are ready to play, and they're waiting for the officials to make this discussion and decision.
Well, if they didn't have any timeouts, they're going to wind this.
They sure got one, didn't they?
Yeah, they're going to wind this clock, though, as soon as, if he didn't have any timeouts remaining, they're going to wind this clock. And there's only 15 seconds on the scoreboard. And a 3rd and 9 from the 33. Here's Brown. Looking. Lets it rip downfield. Sealing in and out of the hands. That one may have been broken up by Rupert.
Yeah, I think Rupert got a finger or two on that one. If he didn't, he got a little lucky then, because it might have ended up being a TD.
Sealand had a step on Rupert, and Brown may have wanted that one back. But we've got a 4th and 9 with 9 seconds remaining in the first half from the 33-yard line. Brown working out a shotgun. Brown back to pass. He's going to let it rip deep into the end zone, looking for Ethan Barton. That one broken up. Great defense from number 26, Brian Fauble.
That was about as good as you can get. Both ways. McBain with a great play call, throwing it up high, hoping their receiver can get up and grab that. He's definitely got the height advantage. Pine River back on defense, not picking up the pass interference call, breaking it up.
Savvy from Brian Fauble as well, using the back end zone line as an extra defender, pushing him up against that boundary and able to break it up. Looks like there's going to be a quick stop in the action. There's 1 second left in the first half. It's been a fantastic second quarter.
Absolutely. 0-0 after 1 and 14-12 now.
We had a 6-yard touchdown pass to Dan Rodenbaugh from George Brown III. Then a 16-yard touchdown run from George Brown III. And it was McBain with a 14-0 lead. And then a 60-yard touchdown run by Brock Nelson, followed up by a 35-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, Rogan Nelson. Unfortunately, the additional extra points were no good on both occasions for Pine River. And that's how we've arrived at 14-12.
You know, with so little time on the clock, I would expect Pine River to make an attempt to run something here. You might see a little screen pass kind of thing, maybe something a little safe out in the flats. I kind of don't expect them to take a knee here.
Maybe give the ball, maybe a little quarterback keeper. We've seen both Nelsons score from distance on the ground.
They're explosive, so I think we'll see something dialed up here from my Coach Martin.
Last play of the first half. Rogan pitches to Brock, and Brock's going to throw it back to Rogan Nelson. And he's at the 40-yard line and still going, and he's going to be tripped up by Caden McGillis, and that'll bring us to a close of the first half on the 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. We got ourselves a barn burner in the Highland Conference as the Pine River Bucks trail the McBain Ramblers 14-12. We'll be back in just a couple moments with our halftime show.